We're going to be doing a study, though, trying to determine non-invasive biomarkers to determine who should fast, how long should they fast, when are they done fasting. Right now, the pharmaceutical industry is recognizing that fasting produces very many beneficial things, and they're trying desperately to come up with what are called fasting mimicking drugs. So drugs that'll mimic the effect that fasting has on the body, but without the nasty fasting and in a form in a pill that they can sell. So how often should they do it? We don't know. Our recommendation right now, without research to support it, is, maybe once a year or every other year, take some time off, do a fast, make sure you do it resting, and you're a good candidate for it. And we think that that will be an enhancing benefit. We're going to actually do a navigator study where we're going to track 2,000 people the rest of their life and try to determine, does eating a whole plant food diet and periodically fasting help people not only live longer, but more importantly, live better. We're most interested in healthy life expectancy, not life expectancy. How long you live, honestly, is probably mostly luck and genetics. But how well you live in the time you're alive is largely determined by diet and lifestyle. And what we're trying to show is that a whole plant food SOS-free diet can help people avoid the last 20 years of debility that are so dominating in most people. For many people, the last 20 years of their life are pain and suffering. What we're expecting is that people that live healthily, the last 20 years of their life can be the most enriching, the most enjoyable, the best part of their life.
How often do you do a 1 week or longer fast?
Every year.
Okay. If anyone would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. So next question is, what do each of you eat each day, and what supplements do you each take each day?
I'll go first because, it's always going to look bad after Alan. I usually eat the same things. I definitely have been doing time restricted eating. I really do love to eat once a day. That's my sweet spot. I'm very happy eating a big, healthy, hearty meal around 11 o'clock, and then I'm good for the day. But sometimes because of social reasons, I end up eating a second meal. But in either 1 or 2 meals, I always have an enormous salad with all sorts of different colorful things, lots of leafy greens. And today it was Brussels sprouts, and I made some cooked broccoli to put on top, and I made a nacho cheese sauce to drizzle on top. I usually have some kind of legume or chickpea, or sometimes once in a while a tofu or a tempeh. But or I usually have like whatever super stew I've made, and I kind of just put that on I always put everything into one giant bowl. I don't know why, I just like to have everything all together. But it's always just a combination of different veggies, soup, stews. Or my favorite recipes still are cream of mushroom cauliflower rice, and my let's see, what else do I normally make? The herb Dijon potato salad, just a recipe that I make a big salad, a big recipe, and a dressing, and I kind of like just throw that all in a bowl.
So I'm fortunate because I work at the True North Health Center, so we have these fabulous chefs and the food's always available, but I always have pretty much the same thing. Some kind of fruit salad. It'll vary depending on the season, what's in season, with lots of greens and maybe some kind of grain like oatmeal or corn or something like that. I have 2 huge salads a day at lunch and dinner, 2 large platters of steamed vegetables, and some kind of complex carbohydrate. It varies: beans, rice, potatoes, rice pasta, whatever. And so I'm usually eating 2 or 3 meals a day because it's hard with as much low density food as I eat, the salad and the steamed vegetables, to get enough calories in order to sustain my high energy output. So I'll eat in an 8-hour window, 2 or 3 meals, lots of salad, 1 meal based on fruit, and enough grains or beans so I don't disappear. I have up to an ounce of nuts a day. I take B12. I take 1,000 micrograms of B12 a day, and out of summer, I'll take 2,000 units of vitamin D.
Oh yeah, supplements. I take a multi that has 150 micrograms of B12 every day and 2,000 IU of D, 150 micrograms of iodine, some zinc, and I take mushroom caps for my immune system. I seem to really like them, like a blend of mushrooms. And sometimes I go in and out of a probiotic I've been playing with that over the years. And yeah, I think that's it. Omega-3s. I take omega long chain EPA and DHA microalgae subs once in a while.
So Julieanna, you just threw us a curveball that I didn't think of, and really no one else has said. You just threw in that you're only eating 1 meal a day, and you're eating it earlier in the day. So you're basically saying you're not eating dinner. So I didn't even know this was an option. So can you explain more about this? Is this safe? Do we need to Can we just have a big lunch? I mean, somehow I'm brainwashed to thinking that I have to have dinner at 6 o'clock. And if I don't, somehow I'm going to disappear and I won't get enough nutrients. So please tell us more about this.
Yeah, so don't try this at home necessarily. I don't necessarily recommend it. Most of my clients prefer 2 meals a day because I do like to keep them at 2 meals versus I don't even like to use the window anymore because a lot of my clients, once they start, don't like to stop. And so once they break the seal, it's like it's hard for them to turn it off. So it's like it's easier just to have 2 meal times. For me, I do like to have a big salad, big meal, and I'm just not hungry at night. Sometimes if I am, I will have like your fruit salad. That will be my evening thing. I've been really into apples lately, so I'll have a big, huge mound of apple slices or berries or whatever kind of fruit things. But I'm usually not hungry in the evening. I've trained myself. Now, what I've really learned is how incredible the circadian clock is and how there's this kind of like interesting phenomenon associated with the circadian rhythms where like, you know, if you eat at the same time every day, your body will be hungry at the same time every day. And so I eat every day at 11 a.m. and then I'm really not that hungry the rest of the day. And if I am, I'll definitely eat. And you have to make sure.
The reality, though, there's a certain amount of calories that you have to get in to maintain optimum weight. You eat a little bit more concentrated diet than I eat, so you're able to do it in the shorter window. If you're eating lots of salad at 100 calories a pound, lots of steamed vegetables at 300 calories a pound, you can't eat the volume that you would need to sustain work. By eating a little bit more concentrated food, a little higher proportion of grains and beans, you can, narrow your feeding window. And that may work great. There's variations. It's what's going to work. You don't probably burn nearly as many calories as I burn. I play, 3 hours, 4 times a week of basketball. My caloric output is going to be higher. So if I was trying to live on salad, I wouldn't do it 1 meal a day. That I would disappear into the. So again, you have to modify your frequency, intensity, and diet based on the needs of the individual that you're talking about.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, and when I'm more active, when I am going to the gym and doing an hour and a half workout or whatever, I definitely need that second meal in the day. So I really do try to listen to my body, but you're right. You have to, and you use the weight. That's what I do. It's like you use your weight to modify. Like if I'm losing weight, I know I need to eat more. If I'm gaining weight, I know I need to eat less. And that's a good way to kind of just temper it.
There's also differences between males and females. Females biologically are energy serving fat storage devices. They have high estrogen levels, are designed to be more efficient. They are much more efficient on average than males. So that, for example, if a woman and a husband and wife go on a diet together and they eat exactly the same, they're both being careful, right? The woman will lose an average of about 2 pounds a week. A male will lose about 3 pounds a week if they're overweight. So about 50% more. And that's the guys usually out there going to In-N-Out Burger and cheating and doing all kinds of stuff. So if you're a woman, you have to work twice as hard to get half the results because you're full of estrogen, which is a fat storage hormone. If you take that same estrogen and inject it into males, they grow breasts and get hips and add fat. If you fill women with enough testosterone, their fat will melt off them. But they'll, of course, get hairy and get cancer and die. So it's probably not a good weight loss strategy. But the thing is, there are differences biologically between men and women. There's differences between people that are 20 years old and 80 years old. There's difference for people that are out doing hard manual labor versus people that sit at a desk and are not as active. So you have to take all of those things into account when you start talking about quantity and quality of food intake.
Amy, would you like to ask a question, or where are you from?
Hi, yes, I'm from San Diego, and I would love to come to North. That'd be awesome. You guys are doing a great job. What about people who are afraid of fruit combining with their vegetables and all of that? What do you think of that?
So food combining originally was designed as a way to help people not overeat. And if you're eating foods you shouldn't be eating, you may get less sick if you keep the meal simple than if you combine those foods. If you combine lots of different foods that are highly concentrated, it might help you not overeat. But if you're limiting your diet to whole plant foods, the food combining issues, other than as a dietary control issue, have less relevance. And in some cases, things like fruit, particularly the hybridized big balls of sugar that we get today that have nothing to do with normal fruit, if you include greens with your fruit, many people find they get better digestion, they have less fermentation issues, there's less tendency to overeat. Because the fruits that we eat today, if you go to like Hawaii and find wild apples, they resemble more our vegetables than these things that we've grown that are big sugar bowls. And so, I would encourage people to, even with their fruit, eat a lot of greens and you may find that you'll do a lot better. And stick to whole fruit, not so much the juices and all the dried fruits and all the highly processed fruits. Whole fruits, particularly modern whole fruits, plenty concentrated.
Great. Thank you. You guys are doing super. I really love this. All of the podcasts. Thank you.
Myra, would you like to ask a question, or where are you from?
Yes, I'm from Florida, and I'd like to ask Juliana a question. She mentioned, and in her book, I saw that she says that her clients lose between 4.4 to 0.8 ounces of fat per day. How does she know that that's fat and not just like water weight or fluid, or like, how does she know that?
A great question. My clients, I can generalizably say that my clients can lose 0.4 to 0.8 pounds a day, which is very close to what you can get with fasting alone, but it's with food, and it's over time. So we're looking at body scans and stuff like that, but mostly it's over time. The first weeks, few days especially, and then depending on how obese the client is starting at, they're definitely losing a lot more fluids at first, but it tempers off on account the amount of weight lost per day over the period of time. So weeks into it, it's been very predictably so 0.4 to 0.8 pounds a day. And then when we compare it with body mass, we could see the difference.
We've actually done DEXA scanning studies where in relation to fasting, we were able to show that, people lose a bunch of weight fasting and then they regain weight when they come off. The weight they lose when they're fasting is water, protein, glycogen, fiber, and fat. But the weight they gain as they come off the fast is limited to water, fiber, protein, and glycogen, not fat. The fat continues to drop as long as they're eating a whole plant food diet. And if you look at them 6 weeks post-fasting, their actual lean mass as a percentage of their body is higher than it was at baseline. The bone density is not affected. What continues to lose, even as they're regaining weight, is they continue to lose fat, and preferentially visceral fat. For example, a male that lost 20% of their total body fat during 15 days of fasting also lost 55% of their total visceral fat. So visceral fat, which really shouldn't be there, is preferentially mobilized during fasting. And the lean tissue, they lose 4% of lean tissue. By the end of 6 weeks, they have a higher percentage of lean tissue than they did when they started. So it's a way of actually transforming the body. The old wives' tales that, you lose weight and you just gain it back, not true. The key is whole plant food, SOS-free diet, and moderate activity. And if you do that, whether you have fasting or not, you're going to lose a predictable amount of weight, and most of that's going to be preferentially fat.
Janet, would you like to ask a question, or where are you from?
Yes, I'm from Maryland, and I was just wondering, for weight loss, how much water do each of you recommend that a person drink a day? Because a lot of times I don't hear a lot of talk about the importance of drinking water, and I was just wondering what each of you thought about that.
So water's encouragement is mostly because people are on high protein, high sulfur amino acid diet. So if you're trying to neutralize the toxic waste of eating a dead, decaying flesh diet, you probably can't drink enough water. On these high water content diets, it's going to be more variable, because when you eat as much fruit and vegetables as we're advocating, you get lots of water from the diet, in addition to the water you drink from free water. What you might want to look at more is how much are you peeing? So you should be peeing 2 to 3 liters of water a day, and it shouldn't be overly concentrated. If your urine's overly concentrated, you might want to drink more water or include more fluid by eating more fruit and vegetables. People eating enough fruit and vegetables, short of exercising and losing fluid that way, may not need to drink as much as a person that's, eating a more concentrated diet. And also, just as a little experiment, if you ever go out to a restaurant and you're eating your food, if you're eating healthy food, you're not going to be thirsty. But when you're eating highly salty food, you're gonna find yourself very thirsty. If you're having a drink with your meals, it means you're either not chewing your food or you're eating the wrong food. Because these diets, when you put these together, typically are very high water content diets. And so you can maintain adequate fluid intake without necessarily drinking 28 glasses of water a day or whatever.
Right. And then the going just guideline, just to have it in your head, just to look at, just to think about, because all of that is the most important parts. But what we use as a recommendations in the dietetic school, right, is you use your weight in pounds divided in half in ounces per day. So if you're 120 pounds, you're drinking 60 ounces of water a day. But the other thing that I just talked about in my last talk, but it grosses me out so much, but it's such a great indicator, is that what I was also taught in grad school is you want your urine to look like lemonade, not apple juice. Now, I don't ever drink lemonade or apple juice after hearing that, but it's a great way to know if it's dilute enough,
Sure.
not too concentrated, just as a guideline.
Yeah.
And if you're exercising more, if you're pregnant, if it's hot out, all these different variables are going to affect how much water you need to consume. But again, you could use those as just kind of guideposts.
Also, thirst becomes more reliable when you stop poisoning the body with artificial sweeteners and salts and all these processed foods. So you can use, thirst becomes a more reliable indicator. But it is true, dehydration is a problem. It causes a lot of symptoms. Sometimes just getting people drinking more water can help alleviate a lot of their symptoms.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the final question would be, do you watch TV? And if not, what are the healthiest habits or health protocols aside from exercising and healthy eating that you have?
What is a TV? What's the segue from the TV?
The first question is, do you watch TV?
Oh,
And then aside from, so just question is, do you watch TV? And aside from exercise and healthy eating, what are your healthiest habits or healthy protocols that you personally follow?
I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch some TV, but very, very rarely, only just to, you know, keep my boyfriend comfortable and comfy. And I love reading, and I love podcasts, and I love socializing and seeing friends and family, and I love traveling. And those are kind of things that I try to build into part of my things that I love to do that are, I think, healthy, meditating, stuff like that.
So for me, I have limited activities. I play basketball 4 times a week. That's my main recreational and exercise. I watch a show each night with my wife that she selects as a part of our evening ritual. And I honestly spend almost all my time working.
Right. Do you each want to just take a minute to leave us with any final thoughts or comments?
Like I said before in the talk, just I want everyone to think that it doesn't have to be perfect. There is literally no such thing as a perfect diet. Nothing, you should not strive for perfection. And all these decisions you make that you've heard in this conference to just eat more whole plants, eat less frequently, take care of yourself, and your mental well-being will really do a lot for you long term. But to not give yourself so much pressure, and to remember radical self-compassion. And you are human after all, and we're dealing with a very, very, very unhealthy food environment, and standing in your truth is really important and really difficult, but it's worth it in the long run.
Thank you.
So I'd say, eat a whole plant food diet that's SOS free, get some exercise, plenty of sleep, and try to only worry about the things you might be able to do something about, and just put aside all the other stuff that's out there stressing people out.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Goldhamer, how do we follow up with you if we're interested in coming to True North and anything, and staying in touch with you and consultations? What's the best way?
TrueNorthHealth.com.
Okay. And do you do phone consultations for people that just want to ask questions? And
yeah, we offer a free conversation with me. If they fill out the registration forms, I'll review their medical history, try to point them in the right direction.
Okay, great. And Julieanna, how do people follow up with you? Do you offer Zoom consultations and phone consultations?
Yes, I work exclusively online, virtually, and by phone. So you could find me at plantbaseddietitian.com, and you could email me directly via the contact button over there on the upper right.
Okay, thank you so much. And can we unmute so everyone has a chance to thank them as well?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.